Hi guys. We're gonna do the labeling of the muscles for these first two pages. So we already did some of these middle pages, like this one, this one. So we're just gonna do these first two of this pack, the one that has the person with all their muscles. And since this is kind of small, I found the easiest way to do it is to make like a list and then color them in and kind of like make a coloring key. There's a lot of them, so I'm gonna have to use colors more than once, but I'm gonna try not to put two of the same colors next to each other. Like if I color one yellow, I won't color the one right next to it yellow. So I'm gonna list the ones for the head, torso, arm, leg. The one on the back doesn't have quite so many, but there's a lot on the front. So in the head, go ahead and make my list first. There's really only 3 that we can see in this picture. That's those 3. Now, there were a lot more than 3 that you needed for, your notes and for tests, but these are the only 3 that we can really see in this picture. So I'm randomly picking colors. It doesn't matter. Pick a color. Frontalis is this right here, the forehead. Temporalis is this over here. There are some muscles, just to give you a heads up in advance, that you can see on both the front and the back if you're that kind of person who likes to have the same colors on both. The temporalis is one of those that you can see on both. And orbicularis oculi. Orbicularis means it's a round muscle, circular muscle. Oculi is eye, so these are the muscles around the eye. There's also an orbicularis oris around your mouth, but we can't see that one in here. And these cheek muscles are kind of hard to differentiate between in this picture, so we're just going to leave them blank for now. We'll just move on. The torso. Let's make our list. I'm running out of room. Rectus abdominis. Dorsi and the obliques. There's no real reason why I put them in that order. I'm looking at the same order that I have it on the other paper and matching it up. All right, the trapezius. Trapezius, we can only see the edge of it here. It's mostly on the back, so we'll see more about the trapezius in the back. And the trapezius is kind of located in the torso/neck area, but it really controls your arm. So we'll definitely see it twice in your notes. Once when we do the arm and once when we do the torso. Next color. The deltoid is on top of your arm. So you can kind of see that this is like arm or it's shoulder or it's, it's all the muscles play together anyway. It's very rare to have one of these skeletal muscles that just works all by itself and doesn't involve anything else. Like it doesn't affect anything else. They all go together anyway. We'll do the rest of the arm separate in a minute, but I'm going to keep going down the torso. The pectoralis. So there's a pectoralis major and a pectoralis minor. They're right on top of each other, so we're just going to say pectoralis. So we can't really see it in our models anyway. Yo pecs. The rectus abdominis is down the middle. It's what you would say your six-pack abs are. That's the rectus abdominis. I'm running out of some colors, so I'm going to have to repeat a bit, but here's your rectus abdominis. It goes from your sternum and your ribs all the way down to your pelvis. Rectus means straight because the muscle fibers run straight up and down. You could also color in this stuff around it. That's just like a fascia that connects it to everything else. Serratus anterior. It's a neat looking muscle because it looks serrated. Like if you think of a bread knife that kind of looks like zigzag, that's how the serratus looks. It's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but that's how it looks in real life. It's pretty neat looking. Here they are. The latissimus dorsi is another one that's mostly on your back, your lats. It's basically your whole lower back, but we can see it a little bit here on the sides because it kind of is your whole lower back and then wraps up to your ribs. And obliques. There's an external and internal oblique, but again, they're right on top of each other, so we're just going to say obliques for our purposes. Oblique means diagonal, so it's called that because the muscle fibers run diagonal. There's also another abdominal muscle, so there's the rectus abdominis, the obliques, and underneath all of it there's a transverse abdominis that runs around the whole middle. Obviously we can't see that in this picture. Arm. Let me see if I can. Hopefully my iPad doesn't fall. Okay. For the arm, in addition to these ones that are up here in the chest area, so the trapezius, deltoid, pecs, the serratus anterior, and the lats, they all work the shoulder and arm. Excuse me. So this is stuff other than that, like the other muscles that are specifically in the arm. So we can see the biceps. The full name is biceps brachii or triceps brachii, but we're just going to give you the short version. Brachioradialis. This is 3 words that go all together. Extensor carpi radialis. And flexor carpi radialis. Hang on a second, I'll move my camera in a minute. I have one more to write. The lumbricals. Let's just do, hopefully my iPad doesn't fall. Ooh, there we go. We can't really see all of these on both arms, but I'll try to color it where we can see them both. I mean, this arm that's kind of sideways, it's kind of hard to tell. Bicep. Biceps brachii, it's called that because there's 2 heads. If you do the strongman muscle kind of thing, that's the bicep. The tricep we can only see a little bit of. We'll see more of it on the back for sure. That dark brown color. And it's kind of just along here. It takes up like the whole back of the arm, so we'll see more when we get to the back. The brachioradialis is one of those that I'm not having you remember like to identify on a model, but you should still kind of know like what it is and where and what it does. It helps the bicep to do bicep things. And it is, I know for sure we can see it on this one. What's this right here? We can't really see it on the other arm. There might be some sophomores that try to come in. Some people left their iPads in here, so if I have to leave for a second, I'll come right back. The extensor carpi radialis is another one that I'm not going to have you identify on models, but you should still be able to tell me it extends the carpals and it's along the radius. Same thing with this. It flexes the carpals. It's along the radius. And the lumbricals are in your hands, so let me see. I will color them on here for us. The extensor carpi is right here. Obviously there would be one in both arms. I'm just, yeah, since this arm's the other arm's kind of twisted here, I'm not really sure where that would line up. The flexor carpi is just this little bit down here. And your lumbricals, you also have lumbricals in your feet. But for our hands, the lumbricals are just in between all of your hand bones. They help to flex and extend your fingers. And the leg. I know there's a lot on this front picture. There's not so many on the back. So the back will be a little quicker. What do we have on the leg? Oh, sorry, medialis. I always spell that one wrong. Medialis. Now you can see why muscles take so long. Jeez, it isn't even all of them. All right, we're starting up at the top in the quads area. The rectus femoris. Rectus means straight, femoris for femur. This is basically what you think of when you think of your quad, pretty much. It's this whole thing right here. Now, your quad is called quadriceps, because there are 4 muscles in there. One of them is the rectus femoris, and the other 3 all are called vastus. There's vastus lateralis, which is on the lateral or the outside. There's vastus medialis, which is on the medial or the inside. And there's also a vastus intermedius. I think it's intermedius, vastus intermedius. But it's right underneath this one that we just colored purple. I just colored purple. So we can't see it on this picture. There's 3 vastuses. Vasti? Vastus lateralis would be this one out here. Vastus medialis would be this one here, and then the intermedius one is underneath the rectus femoris. So those 4 muscles come together to make your quad. This here would be your kneecap. Your gracilis is the main part of the groin, probably what you think of when you think of the groin. It's just this edge right here. There's a lot of other muscles in there that are like abductors and adductors and all kinds of other stuff, but we're not going to get that specific. It just kind of, it's so, they're small and it's hard to tell where one starts and one stops, so we're just going to go with the one on the outside for identification purposes. If you become a muscles in the groin doctor, that's an odd title, then you can learn more about that. But for our purposes here, we only have so long in a trimester, you know? The sartorius is this one that runs sideways. It helps with moving your legs. Helps you kind of sit like when little kids sit down crisscross applesauce. That's what the sartorius does for you. The glutes. Now, I'm not quite sure which glute this is. It's either the gluteus maximus or it might be the gluteus medius. It's kind of hard to tell because it really would like depend on the person and how far out their glutes go. So, I just said glutes. Usually when you identify it on models, that's how you're going to identify it too. It's just going to be glutes. So. That pencil will not work. It is broken. Try this one. Glutes. There's actually 3 gluteus muscles. There's the gluteus maximus, the gluteus minimus, and the gluteus medius, but they're all kind of right on top of each other. So that's some combination of glute going on there. Gastrocnemius, you'll see more of on the back because that is your calf muscle. the gastrocnemius, the soleus, and the third one that's called the plantar or plantar. It looks like the word plantar, but it's not. Those three make up your calf muscle. So we can only see a little bit of the calf muscle on this front picture, but we'll see more of it on the back. It's kind of like this little bit sticking off the edges. Okay. Oh, there's a knock. Hold on one second. I knew it was you. Alrighty. Anyways, soleus is kind of on the sides of the calf. So that would be kind of like this area here. And we'll see more of it on the other side. This here, this white spot is your tibia or shin bone. Now one more, it's called the tibialis anterior because it's on the anterior side and it runs along your tibia. It is this guy right here. There is one, this one here, it's called the peroneus or the fibularis because it runs along the fibula, but that's kind of difficult to tell between that and all the different flexors and extensors. So just like we had over here with the arm, the extensors and flexors, there's also those in the leg that control the foot, but they're kind of like super tiny and hard to see in this picture, so we're just not labeling them on here. We're just labeling the big ones that we can see. On the models and for tests, you're only going to be labeling the ones that you can see for sure. So like definitely something like rectus abdominis. I mean, you should know that one. That's the abs. Come on. Or like deltoid for sure. Some of these smaller ones like the flexors and extensors, you should know what that means to be a flexor or extensor, but you don't necessarily have to identify them, like where they are and what they do. So let's go to the back side. Starting with the head. There's only two we can really see here. The temporalis we saw before. I did it in blue, so we'll do that one. That's this right here. The temporalis helps with chewing. It like wraps up the side of your head, but that's what it does, helps with chewing. And your occipitalis is over the occipital bone. And this one seems super weird, but your occipitalis moves your eyebrows. So you're like, it's in the back of my head, how does it move my eyebrows? Well, it pulls up on your frontalis muscles, which then pull up your eyebrows. Some places will label them like occipitofrontalis or frontal-occipital. Just kind of put them together since they do the same thing. And there's a big sheet of connective tissue that wraps up around the top of the skull to connect them. That's really all we can see on the head there. So let me torso. Some of these are going to be repeats. A lot of them are going to be repeats. So trapezius. Latissimus dorsi. Deltoid. Some of these that are around, like where the bottom of your shoulder blade would be, it's hard to tell the difference in this picture, so I'm not going to. But there are like the rhomboid is there, and the teres are there. I used brown for the trapezius, so I'll keep with my same colors. So it kind of wraps around the shoulders there, but it also is this whole mess right here. So your trapezius is really your whole upper back. It wraps around your shoulders. It's called that because it looks like a trapezoid. It doesn't really look like a trapezoid to me. I don't know. Maybe if you took it off of somebody and wrapped, like straightened it out, maybe. That's kind of morbid. Your lats. which I did in yellow. Your lats are basically your whole lower back. And they wrap around to your humerus and scapula, so they operate your arm really, even though they're located in your lower back. This right here is one of the glutes, so I'll come back to that when I do the legs. And deltoid I did in green on the other side, so here's the back side of the deltoid. The arm. Feel free to pause me if I'm going too fast. I'm just trying to keep us moving so this video isn't forever and a day long. In the arm, we can definitely see the tricep. And then there's only two others that we can really see. The extensor carpi ulnaris and the flexor carpi ulnaris. So they do the same thing as the other ones did, that's just this time they go down along the ulna. The other ones are by the radius, so but they still do the same motion. Some other one I did brown for tricep, so I'll keep the same colors. Tricep is all of this. All of that's tricep. Now, which color will I use here? Let's go with purple. The extensor carpi ulnaris is his little diagonal piece here. It's right underneath that. It's kind of like this thing right here. And the flexor carpi is a little easier to see. It's this whole side here. I'll try to make it a little darker so that you can tell the difference between this one and the other one. That's about all we can see on the arm. There's others in here, obviously, but we're not going to get that crazy because that's super specific. And in the leg, we can see biceps femoris. I believe this one is sometimes called the semitendinosus. Either way, you can figure out what it means just by looking at that. There's only one with that kind of name. So, in your hamstring or in the back of your leg, that's made of three muscles. There's the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and there's one that's called semimembranosus. But we can't really see the it's kind of like this little line here. We can't really see it as well on the models and everything that we use, so we're not going to worry about that third one. Biceps femoris, bicep because it has two heads to it. It is this one. Oh, I forgot the glutes on my list. Hang on. I'll go back and put the glutes on. Let me get this cleared in first. Oh man, I missed several. I missed the whole. All right. Glutes. I also missed. That's what happens when you try to do things too fast. Anyways, that one's the biceps femoris. This other big one in here is the semitendinous. And this little like stringy thing going in here is the semimembranosus, which all those three together make up your hamstring. I'm going to do the glutes while I'm up here, and then I'll go down back to the others. What color did I make glutes on that one? Jeez. Keeping up colors. Okay, I'll come back to those other two. The glutes is all of this. and all of this. So this up here is technically the gluteus medius. This is the gluteus maximus, but together they all work together. This is your butt. You're probably sitting on it right now. Your gluteus maximus. This white line here would be your pelvis, your hip bones. And I'll do this is right here on the edge of the groin. Sartorius we can only see a little bit of on this side because it's that one that went diagonal across your quad on the front. So we can kind of just see it a little bit right here. It kind of wraps around the side. Okay, I'll make this one a very dark orange. So you can kind of tell the difference. Anyways, back to our gastrocnemius, our calf muscle. This dude right here. When you think of the calf muscle, you're probably thinking of this one, gastrocnemius. There is supposed to be a C in that word. I didn't spell it wrong. This thing right here is your Achilles tendon. It goes like halfway up your leg. And our soleus, I made red. So let me grab something red. I'll make it super dark red so you can tell the difference. It is just this little bit right here. This whole thing is your Achilles tendon. All right, I'm gonna stop this now. I think we've been doing this long enough. Here's all the parts again. If you have any questions, do let me know. There's a list in Schoology of all the muscles that you need to know. So it would be a good idea that, you know, as you're working through the different notes that you consult this and you consult that list and try to learn all those muscles as you go. Okay? Okay. See you next time.